This Civic Media podcast is sponsored by UW Organ and Tissue Donation. Organ donations are desperately needed, and now is the right time to become an organ donor. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. Go to heroicdeed.com.
This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Wisconsin health officials are warning of a spike in respiratory illnesses during the holiday season. According to the Department of Health Services, record travel over the week of Thanksgiving resulted in an increase in respiratory illnesses over the last week, as well as an increase in hospitalizations. Health officials also noted that Wisconsin residents are slightly behind average when it comes to flu vaccination rates. So they're reminding everyone to get vaccinated to protect themselves and others during the holiday season. With the Defense Secretary nomination still in the balance, a senator is raising concerns. Stuart J. Waddles has more.
Very troubling. That's what Senator Tammy Baldwin called some of President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet selections. She made the comments at a WisPolitics D.C. event this week. The newly re-elected Baldwin seemed happy about the possibility of Sean Duffy, a former Wisconsin congressman, leading the Department of Transportation. Baldwin noted that some of Trump's nominees, including former Representative Matt Gaetz, have already been replaced due to controversies.
Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers says he selected a new secretary nominee for the Department of Natural Resources, but so far has not shared that person's name. The position has been vacant for over a year as Governor Evers and state Republicans spar over a number of his nominations. Earlier this year, over half of the Natural Resources Board was also kicked by the state Senate. Governor Evers says finding a suitable candidate has been difficult over fears that the Republican-controlled state Senate will again vote out his nominee. The Wisconsin legislature passed a new law to make the Wisconsin Ethics Commission oversee all campaign finance compliance. The commission is now asking for the money to fund the effort. Savannah Tolmay Olson has the story.
The state employees who oversee campaign finance compliance want to triple the size of their team. Until recently, local clerks collected campaign finance documentation from municipal candidates. But the legislature passed a new law requiring the Wisconsin Ethics Commission take over. The commission says to pull that off, they'll need more people, therefore more money. The agency is asking for an additional $5 million over the next 2 years to hire at least a dozen more people and get more office space.
A Lakewood teenager was killed after an ATV crash Saturday night. Oconto County Sheriff's officials say the 15-year-old man was driving an ATV on a snow-covered surface, failed to negotiate a curve, went off the road, and struck several trees in a ditch. The driver died on the scene. No other details have been released. An employee of Prolec GE Waukesha Incorporated died after an industrial accident at the plant this weekend. Waukesha police and fire departments were called to the facility, which makes power transformers, at about 2:30 Saturday afternoon. First responders found the unresponsive employee on top of a transformer they described as several feet in the air. Investigators believe electricity contributed to the death and do not suspect foul play. It has officially begun. A groundbreaking ceremony was held last week to celebrate the start of work on an 8-story luxury apartment building on the site of the former Adams Street parking lot in downtown Green Bay. The Packers Heritage Trail Monument will also be removed from the area to make way for the building. The city approved spending over $109,000 to move the monument to a new location. The Brown County United Way will use a $450,000 federal grant to improve child care options and help lower families' costs. The grant will help family-based child care providers get licensed and handle paperwork, record-keeping, and taxes. Additionally, asset-limited, income-constrained employed, or ALICE families can apply for up to 12 weeks of child care scholarships through the grant. Scholarships of up to $200 per child per week will be paid directly to the family-based provider. We're in the middle of open enrollment for affordable health care coverage. Melissa Kay has more.
The enrollment period for affordable health care coverage is open now. Wisconsinites statewide can sign up for health insurance now through January 15th. The open enrollment period began on November 1st and extends through January 15th, 2025. More than 250,000 people in Wisconsin signed up for health insurance during the last open enrollment period. Signed into law in 2010, the Affordable Care Act ensures people can access health insurance without lifetime limits and protects the coverage of people who have pre-existing conditions. Another key provision of the ACA, authored by Senator Baldwin, allows young people to stay on their parents' insurance until the age of 26.
Every once in a while, you come across someone with heart, passion, and purpose. The type of person that makes you stop and say, this one's going to do big things. A 10-year-old Green Bay boy named Bex is one of those people. He has his own sports podcast. It's called Shorts on Sports. He's interviewed A.J. Dillon, Mark Murphy, and he's already started philanthropic efforts to give back. For example, he did something very special for his 10th birthday.
I took donations, or like money donations, or little like boxes of like full of like toothbrushes, toothpaste, all that good stuff, deodorant, toiletries, anything that the homeless need, and I gave it to the homeless.
You can find Bex's podcast, Shorts on Sports, on YouTube under the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Green Bay's account. Bex is also a regular on Civic Media's Mino and the Mayor Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 9 on 97.9 WGBW. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Bucks beat Brooklyn. I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Milwaukee Bucks picked up a win, beating the Brooklyn Nets at the Barclays Center, 118-113. After the game, Doc Rivers agreed his team got off to a slow start.
You know, it's funny. It felt like we played awful offense. We were shooting 57% at halftime, but we turned the ball over and gave up offensive rebounds, and they had a 10-shot cushion on us. Now, the second half, we got to the foul line a lot, so it looked worse, but we only took 68 shots tonight, which is unheard of in a basketball game.
The Bucks host the Orlando Magic in an NBA Cup quarterfinal tomorrow night at Fiserv Forum. Baseball, Willie Adames agreeing to a 7-year contract with the San Francisco Giants over the weekend worth $182 million, the largest deal in that team's history. The 29-year-old shortstop played 4 years for the Brewers. NFL, Packers back at work in meetings and getting ready for a road trip to Seattle to play the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Joker 2 was universally panned as a terrible movie by critics and audiences alike, who in some cases walked out during screenings. There is at least one dissenting voice, though, in director John Waters, who says Joker Folie à Deux is one of the best films of 2024. According to Variety, the director of Hairspray was quoted as saying, "Finally, a love story I can relate to," and added, "Stupid critics, Gaga so good, Joker so right, die, dumbbells die." That's John Waters. If you're curious to see if you agree with Waters or the rest of the world, Folie à Deux drops on HBO Max Friday, December 13th. The film stars Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga and is directed by Todd Phillips, who decided to make the sequel a musical. Critics and audiences seem to agree to a letter, or number, how good or bad the film was, as Rotten Tomatoes posted a 32% from each group. It might be worth a watch, though, and a little less painful if you decide to watch it in the comfort of your own home. Brace yourself for a new Hollywood reboot, folks. Scrubs ran for 7 seasons from 2001 to 2008 on NBC, and then 2 seasons on ABC. The original executive producer and showrunner Bill Lawrence will also commandeer the reboot, but as of right now, there is no cast yet attached. Maybe they should cast those 2 guys from the T-Mobile commercials. Looking for a good murder mystery? You might want to check out the show Cross. Cross is based on the best-selling Alex Cross novels by James Patterson and is quickly gaining viewers. The show logged 40 million views in its first 20 days of release, making it the 6th most viewed show ever on Amazon Prime. Aldous Hodge plays the brilliant Alex Cross, a detective and forensic psychologist who pursues serial killers. Season 1 is currently available to stream. There's always a decision to be made on New Year's Eve as to where to watch the countdown or who to listen to. Variety reports that CNN has confirmed that Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen will host the network's New Year's Eve live event. Not a big surprise, really, as this will be their 8th year in a row hosting the event from Times Square. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and goes past midnight, or until you tell your kids it's midnight and put them to bed. Don't you hate it when you're trying to have a good old-fashioned fist fight and a Mariah Carey concert breaks out? Let's reverse that. Fans at a recent Mariah Carey concert got into a Donnybrook while she was singing her All I Want for Christmas Is You at the end of the show. A 20-second clip of the incident went viral and shows people how not to behave at a concert, how not to fight, and how not to frame yourself in a video. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Partly cloudy today. We'll get to around 43 for a high this afternoon. The wind will be out of the west at 10 to 20. Tonight, 29. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, colder, 32 for a high with some light snow by tomorrow night and through much of the day Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 40.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.